This is a sermon for the second Sunday after Pentecost. It's based on the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 9, verse 35 through 10, verse 23. I'm going to read a few excerpts, not the whole thing. It's rather a long passage, and try to capture for us what might be relevant for us today. First off, I want to let us know that we are in Jesus' name. We say that all the time. We make the sign of the cross in his name. We in prayers in Jesus' name. What that means is in the same spirit of Jesus, we carry out our prayers, our ministry, and our mission. And also, that name carries into ministry and mission, words that are knocked around in the church a lot, and we may not precisely know what they mean. But today, Jesus makes it very clear about the mission and ministry that he sends his disciples to go do in his name. I'm going to start with the 35th verse of chapter 9. Then Jesus went about the cities and villages, teaching in the synagogues and proclaiming the good news of the kingdom, curing every disease and every sickness. We are called to do the same thing, to spread the good news and to spread the healing of Jesus. There are many kinds of healing. The most obvious is the physical healing, but we are called to pray for and to do the same things. Jesus' mission is our mission. We are his disciples. We carry the Christ's name. We are Christians. All these things fold in to each other and remind us that we are all one. Jesus ministered, we do his ministry. Jesus is on a mission. We continue his mission into the 21st century. We do and say what Jesus did and said. It's pretty simple, but it is not easy. I want you to follow along with me in the gospel here today and see that Jesus talks about the barriers that we will interact with when we try to do the good thing, the good news, to spread the good news. And so, first off, the good news means simple things. Some verbs I pulled out from the reading today. It means curing, raising from the dead, cleansing those who are outcast, and running out the devil, casting out the devil, having the ability to push evil out, and also have an ability to bring healing in. This is Jesus's ministry. This is our ministry. This is part of the good news that Jesus does as well as says, and this is what we do as well as pray for and preach and teach. So we have the same identical mission, and we have Jesus intercessing for us in heaven, and he sends us his Spirit, and it's that Spirit that gives us the power to do these things that we are too weak and too foolish and too selfish to do without his Spirit. So if you wonder why sometimes churches can be powerful and sometimes churches can be very weak, it's because sometimes churches have opened themselves to the Spirit and sometimes churches have shied away from the Spirit, and therefore his mission and his ministry: cure, raise, cleanse, cast out evil, spread the good news that the kingdom of God is near. This is the mission of Jesus in the early part of the Gospel of Matthew. But he also tells us it's not just about what we do, it's about who we interact with. And who we are interacting with today is people who have a different idea of what the news should be. I won't call it bad news. It might even be considered neutral news. But whatever it is, it's not the good news. And these are the people that will drag people that do Jesus's mission into courts, into places where they will be judged, because as Jesus says, there will be kings and governors that you will be dragged before, and you will be flogged, in other words, beaten. You will be beaten on the count of the gospel. These are things that we must be careful of. That's why he tells us to be wise. And a serpent was seen as wise in his culture. So to be wise as serpents. And that wisdom is one of the things that we have. We are not wolves. We are sheep following Jesus. What do sheep have? Well, wolves have the worldly authority, and they have the ability to physically beat us and hurt us. What do sheep have? Sheep have no claws, no kick like a horse. They have no big teeth. Sheep only have the ability to flee. And so Jesus tells us when we are being oppressed to flee from the oppressor, not to stand and fight and make it sword against sword. Sheep also have, as Jesus describes in their character, innocence. Innocence is a great tool. Other people can see it, and other people know that you're doing something wrong to the innocent when a wolf attacks the innocent. Wisdom. Jesus reminds us in this passage that we have the wisdom of the Spirit that makes us make the right decisions at the right times. We can't calculate everything out, but God's wisdom will guide us when we're in His Spirit, and we will find ourselves accomplishing things that we didn't think were possible, including saving our own skin sometimes. So the last thing that Jesus reminds us is that you don't need a lot of stuff. You don't need a lot of fancy things to be a Christian and do his mission. It can be very simple. He tells them not to take a tunic, don't take any extra money, so on and so forth. What you need is yourselves and the bare necessities. You can go out and do my ministry and accomplish my mission. So sheep are innocent. Sheep have the wisdom of God. Sheep can operate in simplicity, and if need be, sheep can flee. We all have these great tools that Jesus gives us, and they all bring us to a point in our life where we can accomplish God's mission. May this be a blessing for you, a blessing during these turbulent times for St. Martin's, and a blessing for